because I want to tell you why I believe that DubLi, without question, is the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen anything like this. And I think it allows all of us, or affords all of us, the ability to be part of something that I believe is absolutely incredible. Now, the reason I believe this is because I believe that DubLi has the strongest product that's ever been offered to the average consumer. Now, the reason the product is so strong is because we pay the consumers to do all the same things that they're going to do anyway. In other words, if consumers like to shop at Walmart or Target or Home Depot, Lowe's, Nordstrom's, Overstock, Wayfair, Apple, Best Buy, Macy's, we don't care. We allow them to do all the same things that they're going to do anyway, and we pay them for it. So here's the reality. Now, I know this sounds like an oxymoron, but the fact is DubLi really doesn't have a product. Not like a juice or a vitamin or a mineral supplement or something that you've got to store in your garage or in your office. We don't have any of that stuff. There's no inventory whatsoever with DubLi. What we have is the ability for the consumers to get paid for doing everything they were going to do anyway. In other words, here's what we do with the consumers. DubLi pays the consumers to buy all the same brand name products that they're buying today. They pay them to buy them from the same brand name merchants they've always bought them from in the past. And when our customers travel, DubLi will pay the consumer to stay at their favorite hotels, to fly their favorite airlines, to rent their cars from their favorite car rental agencies. They'll even pay them cash back to use their favorite cell phone company. So we don't care if you like to use Sprint versus T-Mobile or Verizon or AT&T. It doesn't really matter to us. You do all the things that you're going to do anyway, Mr. and Mrs. Consumer, and we'll pay you cash back, more cash back than any other company anywhere in the world to do exactly what you were going to do anyway. We'll even pay you cash back on your insurance and your investments. In other words, DubLi doesn't try to change the buying habits of the consumers at all. Now, you take this bit of information right here with the fact that this is all about customer acquisition and the fact that we're not trying to change the buying habits of the consumers, that's what makes DubLi incredible. Now, if we paid the same amount of cash back that, say, Ebates or there's something out there called Shopping Sherlock or maybe Fat Wallet or Jolly Wallet, well, it wouldn't be that big a deal. But here's the reality, and you can verify this for yourself. You don't need to take my word for it. DubLi pays more cash back than anybody anywhere else in the world. And so the consumers get really excited about it. Now, normally what I would do at this time is I would go out to the internet and I would go through, I'd go to Google and I'd do a search, and I'd show you how on the search results at Google, the app would come up and show you which, on all the search results that you would get, which of those merchants are in the DubLi Mall and how much cash back you would get as a free, a premium, and a VIP customer. And DubLi makes it very simple, very obvious for the consumer exactly how much cash back they're going to get. Other companies make you go through all these cartwheels and these calculations to try to figure out where the product is and how much you're going to get back, and most of the time they exclude about 80% of the products in that merchant from being part of the cashback system they have. DubLi doesn't do that. When you go to Walmart, when you go to Target, when you go to Best Buy, when you go to Ace Hardware, when you go to Macy's, any of the merchants in there, and by the way, guys, there's over 4,000 merchants in the mall representing well over 65 million products. Every one of the products in Walmart, every one of the products in Apple, every one of the products in all the merchants in the store are part of our cashback program. The only exception to that is if we happen to have a cash card, or if that merchant happens to sell a cash card, and most of them do. You can go in and buy a cash card and give it, for a Christmas present, whatever it happens to be, and at Macy's or Walmart, Target, doesn't matter. And then you give the cash card to your niece, your nephew, your son, your daughter, whatever, and they take the card and they go buy what they want, which is a great way. But they're not going to give you cash back on cash. They just won't do it. And that's not our policy. That's the policy of those particular merchants. So here's what's happening with this. Because this is so significant to the consumer, what's happened is DubLi is now #1 in the world in terms of the dollars that are being spent by the customers that we're sending to Walmart. Number one in the world in terms of the dollars that are being spent by the customers that we send to Home Depot, that we send to Best Buy, that we send to Priceline, that we send to Travelocity in Europe, and we're number two with Target in the U.S. Now, this is pretty significant. This is really a major development for us, and what's happened is this has made Wall Street sit up and pay attention. In other words, they're knocking on our door because they see the quarterly reports at Walmart, at Target, at Home Depot, all the stores I just mentioned. They see those quarterly reports, and they keep seeing this name over and over again about DubLi. Well, they've already given us $40 million, and I cannot tell you who the companies are. I'd actually get in trouble with the company. But it's important that you understand what's happening with this because they're about to invest a lot of money in DubLi. Now, I'm not talking about tens of millions of dollars. I'm talking about a huge sum of money. What we've already been able to do with what they've done is they went out and found 4 candidates because we really didn't have a formal marketing department at DubLi. And they found 4 candidates, and they said, we want you to hire one of these. Well, the company decided that they wanted Krista Paul. Now, I would be really excited about Krista Paul because you can go read her. I mean, look at her LinkedIn. And I would, if you haven't seen LinkedIn, I'm sorry, if you haven't seen the information on Krista Paul, I would really encourage you to go do this. Go to linkedin.com/in/Krista Paul and read up on her. Look at how successful she's been and all the different things that she's doing. I mean, it's absolutely amazing what she's done and how well she's done it. I mean, you can go see how successful she was at Coca-Cola, at all these different companies. And y'all can see this down here where it says Krista Paul, the founder of usingmiles.com, was recently announced as one of Colorado's top 5 most influential young professionals for 2011. She was selected as one of the 5 top finalists to grace the cover of Colorado Magazine out of 25 top professionals that were recognized in the October issue. DubLi is really lucky to have her, and she's doing some exciting things. Now, if all we got was Paula, I'd still be excited. But we didn't just get Paula. She brought 29 people with her. In other words, she brought an entire marketing department that did not exist at DubLi before we hired her. And she was over in Dubai at the recent convention we had over in Dubai. And she was talking about all the things she's doing, all the marketing programs she's doing, not just for us to get customers, but also for us to get new BAs, business associates. And she's also working on some programs, some marketing strategies for the nonprofits. That's what I'm most excited about, is what she's doing for the nonprofits. So this, things are really happening. They're doing a lot of work on the back side of the DubLi.com, and that's quite frankly why we can't go out to the internet right now, because the app's just not working, because they've got it down. They're doing some checking, some improvements to the back of the office or the back side of DubLi.com. But let me show you what happens to the customers. Now, you can be a free customer, you can be a premium customer, or you can be a VIP. Now, free is just what it means. You can join up for free. All you have to do is put in an email address. You do not have to put in a credit card. You don't have to put in a telephone number. All you do is put in an email address. You create a username and a password, and then you're off and running. And any one of those 4,000 merchants, you can now go get cash back on everything that you're already doing, and it doesn't cost you a penny. And the cash back, and I'll show you in just a minute how it varies. But you can also be a premium customer. Now, if you want to be a premium customer, you can pay $4.95 a month. Now, you're going to get the free cash back just like the free customer does. But because you're paying that $4.95 per month, you're going to get an extra 4% cash back on top of that. If you're a VIP customer, it's an annual membership. You're going to pay $99 per year. You're going to get the free cash back just like the premium customer does, just like the free customer does, but you're also going to get an extra 6% cash back in addition to the free cash back. Now, without question, once the consumers really understand the VIP membership, I think the majority of them will upgrade to the VIP membership, and DubLi's going to do a great job of making sure that they understand just how much cash back they're leaving on the table by not being a VIP customer. Now, let's take a couple examples in the mall. I pulled out Macy's, Joseph A. Bank, and Match.com. Now, the first thing that I want you to recognize is look at the free cash back. It varies from merchant to merchant. We have nothing to do with that. That's decided by that particular merchant. Well, let's ask the question. First of all, why are the merchants willing to pay us cash back to give the customers anyway? Well, this is nothing more than affiliate marketing. I mean, look at Amazon. What does Amazon do? Amazon is nothing but an affiliate marketer. What do they make? The only thing that Amazon makes is the Kindle. And now they make their smartphone, and I'm not sure how smart it is, but but they make their smartphone. But that's really all they make. Everything else that they sell, and they sell millions of products on their website, it's nothing more than affiliate marketing. Well, what Macy's and all these particular merchants are doing, if you try to compare, the cost to them to acquire customers with conventional advertising, for example, or because you got to get it out there, you got to talk about your sales, you got to talk about the specials, you got to put it on TV, you got to put it on Super Bowl ad. All those things are very expensive. And the reality is, for example, let's say that Home Depot wants to put an ad on the Super Bowl. It's going to cost them anywhere from $4 to $5 million for a 30-second spot. Now, they have to spend that money up front, and they really don't know whether they're going to get any customers out of it or not. And more than likely they will, but they don't know that for sure. So there's a risk involved. And they're going to spend a lot of money, and if they don't get enough customers, you can imagine that the customer acquisition cost is going to be anywhere from maybe $300 to $2,000, depending on how many customers they got out of that $4 or $5 million ad. Well, you've got to sell a lot of product. If your customer acquisition cost is above $1,000 or anywhere near that, you're going to have to sell an awful lot of product to that consumer to recover that acquisition cost. Well, here's what happens at DubLi. Macy's is very happy. All of the merchants, as a matter of fact, are really happy with DubLi because here's what happens. If we send them a customer who doesn't make a purchase, what does it cost Macy's? What does it cost Joseph A. Bank? What does it cost Home Depot? Nothing. Nada. Zip. Doesn't cost them anything. Who's doing the marketing to send those customers to Macy's and Home Depot and Apple, etc.? We are. We're taking the risk. And so the only time that Macy's or any one of the 4,000 merchants in the mall has to pay us anything is if, in fact, we send them a customer that makes a purchase. This is a great way for them to do this, and they're paying such little cash back to us compared to what it would cost to do it with conventional means. They love us. Now, here's what happens. If you're going to be a premium customer, you're going to get the free cash back. Now, let's look at the example of Joseph A. Bank. The free cash back here is 6.5%. If I'm going to be a free customer, that's all I'm going to get is 6.5%. Doesn't cost me anything to do this. If I was going to go buy some shoes or a tie, a shirt, suit, whatever, I'm going to buy the same price anybody else would. I'll get any specials that are on the site, but I'm also going to get 6.5% cash back in addition to that because I'm a free customer at DubLi. Well, if I'm a premium customer, I'm paying that $4.95 a month, and for that, I'm going to get this extra 4% on every single purchase that I make in any one of those 4,000 merchants in the mall, any one of the travel portal agencies in the travel portal that I use, any one of the cell phone companies, etc., etc. So it makes all of this work very nice. But here's the caveat that the premium customer needs to realize. This free cash back, it's paid on a monthly basis. Now you got to remember, there's no way that a merchant is going to pay the cash back and send it to DubLi until their return policy has expired. Otherwise, people would really damage these companies because they would be spending all this money or sending all this cash back to DubLi, and somebody could come in and bring the product back, and they'd have to make a full refund, and they're out the cash back. Well, they're not going to do that. And then that just defies all logic anyway. Well, here's what happens. Once that expiration, or once that return policy has expired, then that merchant will send the cash back to DubLi, which then they'll send it on to the consumers. And it's paid on a monthly basis to the consumer once it's available to the consumer. The 4% cash back, this extra 4%, it's paid on a monthly basis. It's paid on an annual basis. In other words, the consumer can see this extra 4% on every single purchase that they make throughout the year, but they can't have access to that money until they've been a customer for 12 months. But if I want to be a VIP customer, I'm going to pay the $99 per year. I'm going to get the 6.5% cash back that's paid on a monthly basis. I'm also going to get the extra 6% cash back, and it's also paid on a monthly basis. This is a big deal. This is a really big deal. Why? Well, it's pretty simple. I mean, take the example of having $100 in the savings account at the bank. Would you rather have your interest compounded on a yearly basis, or would you rather have it compounded on a monthly basis? Well, obviously, you'd rather have it compounded on a monthly basis. Well, the same thing happens here. If I've got this 6.5% plus the 6% being paid to me on a monthly basis, well, if we put those two together, let's call it the free money. I can take this free money. Now, remember, I can't take the 4% because it's not free money until the end of the year. But I can take the free money, which is made up of the free cash back plus the 6%. I can put it on my free MasterCard debit card, and I can go into Walmart. I can go to Macy's. I can go to Joseph A. Bank. And if I'm looking for a new husband or a new wife, I can go into Match.com, and I can get 75% cash back on them. But I can use the free money to pay for the next item, whether it's a luxury purchase or a necessity purchase. It doesn't really matter. And not only am I using the free money, now remember, where's this free money coming from? It's coming from the merchants. It's coming from the merchants for you doing exactly what you were going to do anyway. So you take the free money, you buy that next item, and on top of the fact that you're using the free money, you're going to get cash back on that as well. The consumers now can double dip in the mall. Now, you can't do that with the 4% on the premium membership because, it's only paid on once every 12 months. Now, to give you an idea how significant this is, let me show you an example. Now, this is a good friend of mine, Doug Hall, who's a VIP customer of mine. He's out in Palm Springs, California. Now, you can look at the dates here. May the 4th through May the 11th. That's 1 week. That's 8 days. Let's call it a week. This represents a snapshot in the life of Doug and Judy Hall. Now, they don't have any kids. They're empty nesters. But look what happened this week. Doug went to Best Buy to get some cords for his computer. He bought some flowers for his mother-in-law and his granddaughter. And they were doing a renovation on their house out in Palm Springs. And they went to Home Depot, which was right around the corner from them. And then they bought some supplies. Now, Doug had to take a trip this week. He flies almost once a week with his business, or I guess it's about once a week or maybe once every other week. Anyway, he always goes through Hotels.com or he'll go through Priceline. So here's the point I'm trying to make. Doug did everything he was going to do anyway. And I asked Doug, I said, Doug, the fact that you were a VIP customer at DubLi, did it influence you in any way which merchants you went to? And he said, absolutely not. Best Buy's right around the corner from our house. He said, I would have gone there anyway. 1-800-Flowers, we always use them. Home Depot's right around the corner from us. We will always use Home Depot. And I'll always use Priceline or Hotels.com. And this week, Priceline had a better deal than Hotels.com did. So he got to choose. Well, remember this. Doug's a VIP customer, so he gets both forms of cash back. He gets the free cash back and the 6%, the VIP. Look at this. In 1 week, Doug got back $35.39 cash back for doing exactly what he was going to do anyway. Now, this is the free cash back. So if Doug was a free customer only, he still would have gotten back $35.39. Had Doug not known anything about DubLi at all, you have to ask the question, where would that $35.39 be? Well, it would be sitting in the bank account of Best Buy, 1-800-Flowers, Home Depot, Priceline. But because Doug was a VIP customer, he got the free cash back, plus he gets the extra 6% cash back, which is another $50.80. Well, if you add those two together, in 1 week, Doug and Judy Hall got back $86.19. Now, what was their annual membership for VIP? The VIP membership for the year is $99. They almost covered it in 1 week. Now, if Doug and Judy did this same level of spending every single week, and I don't suggest they would because I know they're not, but if they did, look at the cash back they'd get. $4,481.88. Now, that's on the very high end of how much cash back somebody's going to get right now. Matter of fact, the average VIP customer today that's got 2 kids, according to the company, they're getting back anywhere from $1,500 to about $2,500 cash back on an annual basis, which is not bad for a $99 membership. Now, let me ask the question. What if Doug only got back $2,400 for the entire year? Would it be worth it for Doug to pay that $99 for his VIP membership? And the answer is, of course it would. Well, what if he only got back $1,400 cash back for the whole year of spending? Would it still be worth it for Doug and Judy to pay that $99 to DubLi to get that VIP membership? And the answer is, of course it would be worth it to him. I mean, let's kind of put this in a context that people might better understand. What if there was a bank somewhere in the U.S. in the middle of maybe in the middle of Missouri or Nebraska, somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. Let's say that bank would allow you to put $99 into a savings account, and at the end of 12 months, they would give you back $1,400. What do you think would happen? I can tell you what would happen. Eventually, the media would pick it up. Eventually, that bank would have a run on it. But it wouldn't be a run where you're trying to take money out. There'd be a run on it where people from all over the country are trying to put $99 into a savings account with them because they know in 1 year they're going to get back $1,400. You cannot do that anywhere else. Now, there is a difference here, though. Look at the $1,400 coming out of that savings account, if in fact that was something you really could do. That's taxable income. Look at the $1,400 coming back to the DubLi customers, the DubLi VIP customers. It's non-taxable income. The consumers have already paid taxes on it. It's just a refund from the merchant. It's like all of a sudden you just discovered you had $1,400. So here's the bottom line that we do for the consumers. We increase the purchasing power of every single dollar that our consumers have. That's the beauty of DubLi. That's the DubLi product. You can't really touch it. It's kind of intangible, but it's very valuable to the consumers, and they love it. That's why this is all about customer acquisition, because you can come into DubLi, and like any other network marketing company, if you want to, you can go buy. Let's say you're with a company, and they have maybe they have some juice from some exotic fruit in the Amazon jungle nobody's ever heard of, but it's supposed to cure cancer or clear up fibromyalgia or whatever the case may be. Well, you've got to sell the product. You've got to educate people on that product. You've got to convince them that the science that you're quoting them is legitimate. And the problem is that your next door neighbor, your sister, your brother, your colleague at work, they don't really have the scientific background to understand whether this really is valid science or not. And you're trying to charge them maybe $60 a bottle for juice. I mean, that's typical out there. So what happens in those situations is your family, your friends, they begin to run from you because every time they see you, they know that you're going to try to sell them some kind of expensive juice or some kind of expensive skin care, hair care, a multivitamin mineral supplement, or whatever the case may be. Well, at DubLi, our customers don't run from us. We don't have to inventory product. We don't have to get on a drop ship or an auto ship and spend $250 a month on product if we want to get paid. All we do is give our consumers, our family, our friends, our next door neighbors, our colleagues, we give them the ability to get cash back on everything that they're already doing. They're going to hug your neck every time they see you coming because you're putting more money in their pocket. Now today, right now, as I said a minute ago, according to the company, the average cash back for a family with 2 kids is about $1,500 to $2,500 a year. That's for the VIP customer. I know that a year from now, 2 years from now, it's going to be a lot higher than that because DubLi will continue to add more and more value to the consumers. I mean, we've got some things happening right now because we're #1 with Walmart. The Walmart family, now this is a big deal. I was talking to a guy the other day. He just couldn't believe that I was telling him the truth, that the Walmart family has flown down to Fort Lauderdale 4 times already to talk to DubLi because they're doing some special programs with us because we're sending more customers to them who are spending more dollars than anybody else that they're working with in an affiliate capacity. And here's what's going to happen. You'll have a customer going on the Walmart site, not the DubLi site, but they're going to Walmart. They don't know anything about DubLi whatsoever. They get on the Walmart site, and let's say they're looking at a swing set or maybe a bicycle for their kids. And all of a sudden, they're going to see a little pop-up that says, hey, if you become a free DubLi customer today, right now, we'll give you a $20 coupon that you can apply to this swing set or that bicycle. Now, if it's free to the consumer, who's going to turn it down? I don't, some people will because they're like, wow, this can't be right. That's the way people are sometimes. But most people say, yeah, I'll take it. DubLi's working on some programs, and Krista was sharing with the guys in Dubai. She was sharing with them that what's going to happen in the near future is if you've got a free customer, because she knows that most customers are going to join for free. They want to kick the tires. They want to see if this thing is really for real. And the reality is that we don't really have any brand name recognition today yet. Now, that's a good thing because that means we're at the very beginning of this. Now, understand this. In regards to the fact that we are at the very beginning of this, DubLi is not a brand new company. DubLi was actually founded in June of 2003 over in Berlin, Germany. And trust me, guys, I've been with the company now for 6 years. And I have been through so many growing pains. It's just been absolutely incredible. But what's happened is because we've been through all these growing pains, we have finally figured out exactly what the consumers want. Now, I have to be honest with everybody on the call. I had no earthly idea it was going to take this long for us to get this right. But I knew that DubLi had something special the moment I saw them, because the only other company I've ever been with in this industry was Nu Skin Enterprises. And I'll be really honest with you. I think Nu Skin Enterprises is a great company. They do about $3.5 billion every year now. I love their products. I love their management team. I love everything about DubLi. But the problem with DubLi was I was in the wrong place at the wrong time and didn't realize it. But what happened is I kept seeing all these guys that had been with the company for 10 years before I ever got there, and they made, $25 million in their 10-year career with Nu Skin, and I knew that if they could do that, so could I. The only problem was I missed the boat. They had a huge expansion in the U.S. from 89 to 91. They went from about $50 million in annualized sales to about $550 million in annualized sales in a 2-year period of time. Well, the people that had positioned themselves with Nu Skin before that 1989 time, and they built a sizable organization, it just picked them up and took them on a ride of a lifetime. Well, I missed all that. I was 5 years late, but I was too stubborn to admit or to recognize that I was too late. And so after about 13 years, my wife finally just took a baseball bat and knocked me upside the head and said, "Alan, are you crazy? You're traveling all over the country. You're paying for your airfare. You're paying for your hotel rooms. And you're trying to build this business. You are spending more money every single year than you're making." And she was right. I'd saved enough money from a couple of businesses that I owned that I was doing this, and it was really a painful experience for me. I had to realize, you know what? She's right. This is crazy. I need to walk away from this. And I did. And I thought I was done with the industry. And I had my tail tucked between my legs, guys, because I thought it was me. I thought it was me. I thought I just wasn't good enough for this. I wasn't smart enough. and I knew I was talented enough, but I just couldn't make it work. And it was because you were trying to get people to spend 3 to 10 times as much money on a product or a similar product that they could get down at Walgreens or the health food store or whatever the case may be. But I was too stubborn to admit it. And so I walked away from the industry. And then about 3 years later, here comes DubLi. And the first thing that I noticed was they didn't have a product. Now, back then, they had these things called these auctions. But it was such a unique entity. It was such a unique idea. I just got all over this. And in my first month, I made more money than I made in the best year of my 13 years with Nu Skin. In the 3 months, the 3 final months of 2012, October, November, December, I made more money in those 3 months than I made in my entire 13 years at Nu Skin. It wasn't me. It was the fact that I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Every one of you on this call, you are sitting in the right place at the right time. You've got to decide what you want to do with this information. All right, now, once this money is available to the consumer, and I didn't really mean to get off on all those tangents, but once this money is available to the consumers, what can they do with it? Well, here's what they can do. It goes into their cash organizer. Now, the new cash organizer, and they're doing some massive changes in the back of all of this. And the cash organizer no longer looks like this, but here's what they can do. They can either wire the money directly to their bank, and customers can wire it to their bank for free. We have to pay $2 for it, but that's okay. Or they can send it to the PayPal account, or they can send it to their MasterCard debit card, which they get for free from DubLi as long as they're a premium customer or VIP customer. If you're a free customer, you're going to have to pay $1.95 for the card, but you're just covering the cost of the plastic. Now, if you upgrade to a VIP customer later, you can order it and you'll get it for free after you become a VIP customer. But you can send it to your card for free. I've got mine where it does automatic load, and it costs me $3.50 to do an automatic load, but the customers won't have to pay anything to do that. But here's what happens. I can take this free money. Now, remember, where's the free money coming from? It's coming from the merchants for doing exactly what you were going to do anyway. So I can take this free money. I can put it on my free MasterCard debit card. And that's really, if you stop and think about it, that's what makes this debit card different from any other debit card you've ever seen. And that is that you never have to put money on it. The merchants do. So I can take the money on this debit card and I can go buy whatever I want from any merchant that I want to, and I'm going to get cash back on top of that. But here's what's going to get exciting with the consumers. Once they figure this out, here's what's going to happen. Let's say you've got, let's say $1,500 in cash back at the end of the year, and it's sitting on your free MasterCard debit card, but your daughter or your son's about to go away to college, and so you're going to go to Apple, and you want to get them an iMac, an Air Mac, or you want to get a MacBook Air, or you want to get a MacBook Pro. And so you want to go to the Apple store. And in Atlanta, we've got Lenox Square here, Lenox Mall. I can go into the mall. I could take my daughter, who's at Auburn right now. We could go into the Apple store, and we could get one of the salesmen to sit her down and go through everything and explain to her the difference between the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro, and to make sure the MacBook Air's got enough capacity for her with her, because she wants to be an accountant. God rest her soul. That would be so boring to me, but that's what she likes. So she wants to see which one's going to serve her needs. Well, here's what would happen. I could take the money on that debit card, and I could go to Apple, and I could buy it before I go into the store, or I could go into the store and we could have the salesperson work with us and tell us how good it is and what's the shortcomings are based on what she needs to do in college, and help her decide whether or not she needs to do a MacBook Air or MacBook Pro. And then we could go home. And we could pay for it online, because that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to get 7% cash back on that MacBook Air, that MacBook Pro, depending on which one she wants. And I can get that 7% cash back at Apple. Now remember this, Apple has the strongest brand in the world. They don't give discounts to anybody. They say they give a discount to the college students, but here's what they do. When you make the purchase, they'll give you a discount of maybe $100 on the next purchase. They don't give it to you on the purchase you're making right now. It's on the next one. So if you don't make another one, it's just going to go wasted. Well, here's what would happen. I would get the 7% cash back, because I can go into Apple 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and I can get 7% cash back on anything I want at Apple, anything, except for the cash cards, of course. But here's what I do. I've got a Discover card, and let's say that Discover card during the holidays will pay me 5% cash back, because they usually run a program like that. Well, I can use my Discover card to pay the $1,500, and let's say we get the MacBook Air. I pay for it with my Discover card. I get 5% cash back from Discover, but because I'm a VIP customer, because I paid for it online before I went and picked it up, I'm going to get the 7% cash back in addition to the 5% cash back that Discover pays. Now I'm looking at 12% cash back on the strongest brand in the world. But that's not the end of the story. When the consumers figure out this last little piece to the story, that's when they're going to start really getting excited, and that's when the viral growth is going to take off. Because I've got $1,500 sitting on that debit card. Now, because it's a debit card, I can use it, and I can pay off the bill on my Discover card. I'm getting 12% cash back on my purchase at Apple, the strongest brand in the world, and I'm paying for it with the free money that came from the merchants for buying all the stuff I was going to buy anyway. I'm now triple dipping in the mall with DubLi. When the consumers figure that little piece out, this thing will absolutely explode. Absolutely explode. It's going to take off like a bat out of you-know-what. And it'll spread around the world really fast. So the key to the customer acquisition is the fact that here we are, we're paying cash back on everything that the consumer's already doing. We're not asking them to change their buying habits at all. So they're getting cash back on their shopping. They're getting cash back on their travel. And we don't care whether they want to use Priceline, Travelocity, Orbitz, Hotels.com. It doesn't matter. They use whatever they prefer to use, and they're going to get cash back on all of it. If they live in a state where the electricity's been deregulated, they're going to get cash back on the electricity. Now, that's kind of new, and it'll get better and better as time goes on. Same thing with the cell phones, same thing with all the telecommunications. We even pay them in cash back on their insurance and their investments, whether they want to use Allstate or State Farm. We don't care. But here's the key to all of it. We are not asking the consumers to change their buying habits at all. That is the key to all of it. Now, this is something that everybody should get excited about. If you understand what's going to happen with this, the app for the smartphone is not out yet. Now, that'll come out probably, I think we're going to miss the Christmas holiday, and the company has told us, look, we're not going to bring this thing out until it's working, close to 100% on our side, meaning that when you put an app out into the internet, you could have trouble with your ISP, you could have trouble with your phone could get a virus. I mean, all kinds of things can happen that are beyond your control. So DubLi just needs to make sure that, as far as they're concerned, everything's working. Now, this is unlike any other app out there because, you're talking about currency conversions, you're talking about language conversions, you're talking about different international markets. This is a very complicated app, and they're just not going to bring it out until it's ready to go, which is fine with me. I don't want any problems with this app, get our customers upset. And we're hoping that we'll have it before Christmas, but we don't expect it for Christmas. But they're pretty certain we'll have it at least by the first quarter of 2015. But let me tell you what's going to happen with it. Now, we've been talking tonight about e-commerce, and everybody knows how fast e-commerce is growing. We don't need to talk about that. And we know how, it's happening all over the world. And we know what's happening with the smartphones. They're getting so sophisticated now, it's just incredible. Well, here's what's going to happen. For the first time, we're going to merge the brick-and-mortar world with the e-commerce world. And these things are starting to happen already, whether we like it or not. But let me give you an example of what will happen with a DubLi customer. Let's say that Doug and Judy Hall, who are VIP customers with me, let's say they're in a Target store, and they're walking down the aisle. They pick up a package off the shelf and put it into their cart. Well, that package has an NFC chip in it. That's a near-field communication chip. That chip is going to communicate with the app in their smartphone. If their GPS is on, it's going to send a signal back to DubLi. It's going to tell them that they're in that particular Target in that particular city and that they've just picked up that particular product. And so what's going to happen, by the time Doug and Judy get up to the cashier to pay for that product, they're going to get an instant gift card, an instant coupon. In other words, they're going to get cash back in the brick-and-mortar store. It won't be in the form of cash. It'll be in the form of a gift card that they can use right then and there, or it'll be in the form of a coupon. And so what it means is Doug and Judy are going to get a better price on that product than anybody else in that store, unless they happen to be a VIP customer at DubLi as well. And it's not just going to happen at Target. It's going to happen at all the big box stores. It'll happen at Home Depot. It'll happen at Apple. Imagine with the scenario I was telling you about with my daughter. Let's say we go into the Apple store, and we walk in there, we find one of the salespeople to help us, and he's explaining the difference, and she says, Dad, I want this one. This is going to be great. And so she's going to get the MacBook Air, and so we hand it back to the salesperson, and we say, well, we'll be back in a few minutes. He's like, well, I thought you wanted this. Well, we do. We'll be back in a few minutes. And you go down to the food court, and you pull out your smartphone, and you go to Apple through DubLi because you're a DubLi VIP customer. You buy the MacBook Air. You tell them exactly which store you want to pick it up at. And you guys get a cup of coffee, and you're sitting there talking to your daughter. Maybe you get an ice cream cone or whatever the case may be. And about 10 minutes later, you get a notification from Apple. Hey, your MacBook Air is ready to pick up at the Lenox Square Mall. So you go back upstairs from the food court, go back into the Apple store, and there's the same sales clerk that was helping you earlier is standing back there, and he's looking at you. Oh, y'all decided to come back and get it. Well, we've already paid for it. Well, what do you mean you've already paid for it? Well, we bought it online. We got 12% cash back. And he's going to look at you like, what? And he goes back and he checks, and sure enough, there it is. And you pick it up and you walk out the store. So you had the advantage of going to the store and let the sales clerk make sure you were getting the right laptop to begin with, but you also had the ability, because of your smartphone, because of the app that DubLi has, because you're a VIP customer of DubLi, to get the 12% cash back when you add in the 5% cash back from Discover. Or maybe you've got a Capital One card, or that Quicksilver card that'll pay 1.5% cash back on unlimited purchases. So maybe you only get 8.5% cash back. But I can guarantee you nobody else in that store got that but you. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think customers, and just think about this logically, if that happens to one of your customers, what do you think will be the result of it? Well, I can promise you what's going to happen. They're going to start telling their friends about it. They're going to tell their family about it. They're going to tell some of their colleagues at work. Maybe they're at a Christmas party. Maybe they're at Thanksgiving dinner. Or maybe they're at a basketball game watching their kids play and they just start telling one of the other parents there. They're going to start talking about it. It's going to start spreading. The viral growth will start to kick in once people realize the value that DubLi presents to them. Now, let me give you a dramatization of what's happening here. Watch these next two slides. This is 2005. This is Pope John Paul's funeral. This is front of the basilica, and you can see all the people in the crowd here. There's the basilica down there. And if you look over here in the left-hand corner, here's a girl with a smartphone. Now, this is, back in 2005. These were the early smartphones. Here's another flip phone right here this guy has. And I believe there's another. Here's a guy right here. I don't know if y'all can see this, but there's a glow on his face. He's looking at his smartphone. Now, this is 2005. Let's advance the slide to 2013. 8 years later, look what happens. Look at the difference in that crowd. This is Pope Francis's election, 2013. Everybody in that crowd either has a smartphone, a phablet, or a tablet. They are not just taking pictures, they're videotaping the event in real time, and they're going to put it up on their Facebook page. They're going to put it on their blog, or they're going to send it to somebody instantly while they record it. Maybe it's streaming live. Now, I used to tell people all the time that I thought that the best business you could have is if you were Visa or MasterCard. I mean, think about it. You give somebody your Visa card. If you're Visa, you get a transaction fee on every single transaction they do. And you don't care what they buy. You don't care where they buy it. And you don't care what they pay for it. You just want them to use your card, whether it's filling up a tank of gas or paying for the cell phone or going to Apple and getting that same MacBook Air. You just want them to use your card so you get the transaction fee on every single transaction they do. But that's not the best business opportunity. Think of it like this. Would you rather give everybody in that crowd, if you were Visa, would you rather give everybody in that crowd a Visa card, or would you rather give everybody a VIP account at DubLi and they were all your customers? Well, let me tell you why it's better to do the VIP account. If I'm Visa, guess what happens? Every one of these people in this crowd, or most of them in the crowd, are going to have a Discover card. They're going to have an American Express card. They're going to have a MasterCard. Maybe they've got a Diners card. In other words, you've got cards that are going to compete against your Visa card. Well, think of it like this. If everybody in here is a VIP customer at DubLi, I don't care what card they use. I don't care if they use a Visa card, a MasterCard, American Express, a Diners Club, or a Discover card, or any other card out there. I don't care. Because they're going to do the same thing they were going to do anyway. Whether they want to go to Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, Apple's, Nordstrom, it doesn't matter. They're going to buy what they're going to buy anyway, or what they were going to buy anyway. And again, it doesn't matter what card they use, because I'm going to get the cash back. I mean, they're going to get the cash back on everything they're going to do anyway, but I'm going to get a commission on all of it. And I don't care if they use Visa card or MasterCard, because if I'm Visa and they use the MasterCard, I get nothing on the transaction because they used another card. If I'm American Express, I get nothing on the transaction because they used American Express instead of my Visa card. But if they're a DubLi VIP customer, they can use any card they want. They can buy whatever they want from the same merchants they were going to buy it from anyway, and I get a piece of all of it. This is a much better business model for all of us. I mean, I really think, there's no such thing as the perfect business, because every business model is made up of human beings, and we all make mistakes. Companies make mistakes. They make bad decisions sometimes. They take a left when they should have taken a right. All kinds of things can happen. But think about it like this. If I'm a stay-at-home mom, and let's say that all I want to do is make an extra $500 a month, this is the perfect business model for her. Or maybe I own my own business. I'm a dentist, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I own my construction business. Whatever the case may be, you just don't have time to fully engage in this like other people do, because you've got to run your business. Other people are depending on you, and you've got employees. You've got an adult daycare center. And listen, guys, the one thing, I've owned 4 different businesses in my life. And the one thing you realize after you open your first business, it takes you maybe about 6 months, and you realize, you know, what I've really got is an adult daycare center. And I don't mean to try to sound like I'm being derogatory to my employees at all, because without my employees, I was nothing. I didn't have anything. And they were great. But what happens if they don't show up, and you've got a schedule with your clients, for example, you've got to explain to your clients why you're not going to be able to meet the schedule because they didn't show up. They got a headache. Well, now you've got a headache. That's what I mean by that. Well, there's a way now that Krista Paul is coming up with that will help this person right here engage in DubLi in a very secondary way, if you will, or passive way, maybe is a better word, and they can build a tremendous income with this. They might even get their income up to the point where they want to sell their business and walk away from it and do DubLi full time. That's up to them, of course. Or maybe you're one of these really serious entrepreneurs, and you're just not going to look at anything unless you know you can make at least $100,000 a month or more, much more. Well, if that's who you are, this is the perfect business model for you, because this is a numbers game. And I'll talk about some nonprofits here in a few minutes that will help you do just this. Now, if we look at the other end of the spectrum, let's talk about those nonprofits. This is a paradigm shift for them. An absolute paradigm shift for them. Raising money for the nonprofits has never been easier. Think of it like this. In the past, what did the nonprofits do? Well, they would try to get you to buy a magazine subscription, or maybe some Girl Scout cookies, or maybe some cookie dough, or maybe some gift wrapping paper, something you really didn't want, but you felt obligated to buy it to kind of support the neighborhood kids, or maybe your kids while they were in high school or doing a fundraiser. Well, now the parents, the donors, the supporters of whatever organization is, no matter how big or how small that organization is, those donors, those supporters, they're going to get paid. They're going to get paid to support the causes they believe in. That is a paradigm shift for these guys. Now, if you understand this and you see the brilliance of this and you see the fact that this is all about customer acquisition, and the reason it's going to work is because the value that we present to the consumer. It's exceptional. It's extraordinary. Well, if you get that, if you want to build a balanced business, in other words, if you want to maximize your income potential with DubLi, there are 3 pillars that you have got to pay attention to. The first one is you need to get as many personal customers as you possibly can. It's all about customer acquisition. Second one is you need to advance your rank, and I'll talk a little bit about this tonight. And the third one is you've got to sponsor some nonprofits. Now, you can come in, and if all you want to do is collect customers, well, there's nothing wrong with that. Look, guys, this is your business. You can do with it whatever you want to. You don't have to listen to me. But if you want, I'm going to assume from this point on that you want to maximize your income potential in DubLi, so I'm going to go through the steps to help you do just that. But understand that if you want to come in and just collect customers and never show the business model to anybody, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's up to you. Well, let's look at this. Go back to your personal customers. This is why you've got to get as many personal customers as you can. Now here we go. You can be a free, premium, and a VIP like we talked about earlier, and here's the same 3 examples we showed. And remember, we showed that the free cashback varies from merchant to merchant. Well, remember the premium customer, they're going to pay the $4.95 a month. They're going to get the extra 6.5%. I'm sorry, they're going to get the free cashback that the free customer gets. They're going to get this extra 4%, but it's not paid but once a year to them. Well, here's what happens. We get paid on the free cashback on our personal customers, or actually all the customers under us, but we get paid on the free cashback. We do not get paid on this membership cashback or the extra 4%. Same thing with the VIP customer. We get paid on the free cashback, but we don't get paid on that extra 6%. Well, what do we really get paid on? We earn a 25% commission on all the free cashback that is paid to the free customer, the premium customer, and the VIP customer. So on all 3 customers, no matter what type of customers we have, we're getting paid 25% cash back on all their free cash back. Now, if they happen to be a premium customer, we're also going to get a 25% commission on their monthly membership fee, which is $4.95 a month. So that's $1.23 per month. If they're a VIP customer, we're going to get paid 25% on that annual membership fee of $99. So once a year, we'll get $24.75 own that VIP customer. But guys, this is where this really gets exciting. The VIP customers have something that they've got access to called the customer referral program. And so let's say that this customer right here, we'll call her Sue. And let's say that Sue lives next door to you. And Sue is not entrepreneurial at all. Maybe she's married to somebody who just makes tons of money, but she loves to shop. She loves to save money. She loves sales. Well, she's perfect for you. You just go over and show her how she can get cash back on everything she's going to do anyway. And so she's loving this. She's starting to use it. And she's got a good friend that lives, maybe Sue's in Atlanta next door to you, but maybe she's got a good friend named Linda who lives out in Austin, Texas. And she tells Linda about it. Well, here's what happens. If Linda decides to become a VIP customer and Sue sent her a customer referral link, then DubLi's going to pay Sue $20 in cash for referring Linda. Well, let's say that Linda tells her daughter about it, Cheryl. And Cheryl loves to shop. Well, if Cheryl becomes a VIP customer and Linda used her customer referral link to send to Cheryl, then DubLi's going to pay Linda a $20 referral fee. Now, this can go on and on and on and on. Cheryl could tell somebody who could tell somebody who could tell somebody. This could go out 1,000 generations, guys. And every one of those VIP customers that refers to another one is going to get a $20 referral fee from DubLi. But here's why this is so exciting. You don't know Linda. You don't know Cheryl. You don't know any of the other 998 people in that string of 1,000 VIP customers. But guess what happens? All 1,000 of those customers become your personal customers. You're going to earn a 25% commission on all their free cash back, on all 1,000 of them. You're going to earn a 25% commission on all of their $99, all their VIP membership every single year. They don't even know who you are. It doesn't matter. They're not here for you. They're here because of the value that DubLi presents to them as a consumer. They're going to get cash back for doing exactly what they were going to do anyway. That's a really powerful business model. There's no product inventory. There's nothing to keep up with. You're just giving the consumers the ability to increase the purchasing power of every single dollar that they have. Now let's talk about the rank advancement. That's the second thing you want to pay attention to. Now most people will come in and they'll start as a team member. This is a $495 package. But you can come in with what we call a TLA package. And you can start as a team leader or you can start as a team member. Now as a team member, you're eligible to earn a 5% commission on anybody that you personally sponsor, but you can't even sponsor a nonprofit as a team member. Okay? And that's one of the that's where you're going to make your most money, sponsoring nonprofits, and I'll go through this in just a second here. So the second rank is a team leader. As a team leader, you're going to double the income potential you have on people that you personally sponsor. If you come in with a TLA package, you can start sponsoring nonprofits right away. The next rank is a team coordinator. And you'll see that your income is going up every time you advance your rank. So now it's going up to 15%. Then the sales director goes up to 20%. Then the vice president, the senior vice president. So here's what happens. And I want to show you just real quickly why you want to pay attention to advancing your rank. Because your rank advancement, with the new compensation plan, the new binary that they're going to lay on top of the existing comp plan, it doesn't matter what your rank is. In other words, let's say you're a team leader and you sponsor somebody who becomes a senior vice president, which is the top rank with the company. In the current compensation plan, you'd lose this person. Now, you'd always make a commission, you'd always make a 10% commission on whatever they personally bought in their personal VIP membership, but you wouldn't make anything on the organization below them because they outranked you. Well, with this new binary plan, what's going to happen is you'll be eligible to earn on everything that they're doing. Now, you got to have another leg that'll match it, and I'm not going to get into all the details on that, but here's what I want to point out. If I'm a TLA and I sponsor a nonprofit, I'm going to earn a 10% commission or override on all the customers that are generated out of the database of that nonprofit. I'm going to earn a 10% override on all of the viral growth that happens from the customers that came out of the database of that nonprofit. But if I'm a sales director, I'm going to earn a 20% override. I'm going to double my income. I'm going to do the same amount of work, Well, dadgummit, it is so important that you advance your rank to at least that of a sales director, because now look, you've doubled your income. If you advance your rank to a VP, now you're going to get 25% override instead of 10%. So hopefully y'all understand why it's important to advance your rank. And you at least want to get to sales director, okay? And everybody on this call can do that. And we can show you how to do that. We can help you get there, okay? We're not going to do it for you. This is a work program, but you can do it. All right. Look at the partner program. What are we doing with these nonprofits? Why is this so attractive to them? It's pretty simple. We're helping the nonprofits monetize their database in ways they've never been able to do before. So this is the perfect fundraiser. This is the ideal fundraiser for any nonprofit, because remember what we're doing here. We are literally paying their donors for doing good. In other words, we're going to pay their donors, their supporters. We're going to pay them to support the causes that they believe in. They don't have to buy any cookie dough. They don't have to buy any magazine subscription. They don't have to donate any money. We're going to pay them to do it. That's never happened before. This is an absolute paradigm shift for these nonprofits. Now, we've already got over 1,000 nonprofits with DubLi. It's just amazing what's happening here. Now, you can see some of these big names here. American Red Cross, American Cancer Society, Feeding America, Doctors Without Borders, World Food Program, United Way. Let me make sure you understand something. These big nonprofits right here, they're not the sweet spot for DubLi. The sweet spot for DubLi with the nonprofit programs are the little high schools, the little churches, or maybe some of these mega churches even. Now, I was really fortunate, and I closed the Red Cross work. A good friend of mine named Chris Kammerer, we were working together, and we've just developed a really strong relationship with Lou Esposito at the American Red Cross. And once DubLi was truly ready to go, we went to Lou. We did a webcast with her on a Friday afternoon. Now, here's what's happening. They're doing some test marketing right now at the Raleigh-Durham chapter. Now, that's a regional chapter. It's got about 15 chapters under it. And then once they get, they figure out, because whenever you do something new like this, you've got to figure out, well, how can we create the marketing, or what kind of marketing do we want to do with our database so we get the greatest number of conversions to VIP customers as possible. And you don't send it out to the whole organization. This is probably going to be a 2-year rollout, but they're going to take it out to all 900 chapters nationwide. And I'm really excited about this. But let me make clear to you something. Let's say that I had 900 high schools and I had 900 chapters at the Red Cross. If DubLi came to me and said, Alan, we've been thinking about this, and we've just decided that you can't have the 900 chapters at the Red Cross and these 900 high schools. Which ones would you rather have? Without a moment's hesitation, I'd say, well, okay, you take the 900 chapters at the Red Cross. Why? Because I know how passionate the parents are about supporting the kids. I was talking to a coach just outside of Chicago, and he's been coaching for 25 years. He's on the call tonight. He's worried about his pension because Illinois, they're going to cut everybody's pension in half. And he wants to do something. He saw a couple of videos on this and realized, this is pretty significant. He's sitting on a gold mine. He's sitting on an absolute gold mine because the parents are absolutely passionate about doing this. Now, we also closed Memorial Hospital. We didn't realize at the time we went to speak with Memorial that they're part of the Catholic Health Initiatives. We just had a really good friend named Jean Payne who worked for Jennifer Nicely, the president of the foundation. And we called Jean up and we explained to her real briefly in about a 10-minute phone call. She said, Alan, this sounds really interesting. Can you come up to Chattanooga and show this to Jennifer? We said, sure. So we go up there and we show it to her. Now, we had to go through 6 presentations. It took us a year to close them. And that's just the sales cycle in some of these big organizations. But now we've got 90 healthcare facilities that are all part of the Catholic Health Initiative. And the first one we're going to do is a Memorial Hospital. Once we do that one, then we'll go and do another one. And it'll probably take us a year, year and a half to roll out those 90 hospitals. You can't do it overnight. But here's why I'm so excited about the high schools. Now, we did a presentation to Coach Hammonds. And it was so funny because when we finished the presentation, now I was sitting in my house like I am right now doing a webcast with him, and one of the guys that had graduated from there, and he's been incredibly successful. He's worth probably about $50 million right now. He was sitting in the office with the coach, and when we finished the presentation, he said, "Coach, you got any questions, or what do you think of this?" And here's what he said. He said, "Boys, let me tell you something. I've been here a long time. And you better believe I've seen every kind of money-making scheme coming through that door right there, trying to get me to do some kind of fundraiser, but I ain't never seen nothing like this." He said, we need to move on this, and we need to move on this now. And so we explained to the coach, "Well, look, Coach, if you can open the door for us, if you can give us some referrals to any other high schools, what DubLi will do is they'll pay you a 5% override as a way of saying thank you on everything that those high schools do." Well, 2 days later, I got an email from the coach. He'd already spoken to 50 high school coaches, and they were ready to go. And they're waiting on me right now because, you know, we've had to wait. I've been holding them off because we weren't quite ready. And Memorial Hospital's been trying to push me to get this thing going. And I said, "Nope, we got to wait until they got the cash organizer fixed and a couple other things. Now they're ready, so we're going to go." And we're really excited about this. But the high schools are the sweet spot. The churches are the sweet spot. I'm not going to get 50 hospitals from Memorial right away, but I got it from the coach. I'm not going to get 50 recommendations to other international organizations from the Red Cross like I did the coach. I mean, this happened overnight, 2 days later. This is where it's at right here. The sales cycle on any big organization is going to be anywhere from 6 months to a year. So that means for 6 months to a year, you're not going to make any money whatsoever as you go through this process. And it can be excruciating sometimes. But the parents are going to get excited about this right away. There's no bureaucracy to go through. And it's the private high schools, not the public high schools. It's the private high schools that are the best option for everybody. Now, you can go to public high schools as well. Don't misunderstand. Now, I said earlier that there's no real brand name recognition right now. Well, Donald Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., interviewed Michael Hansen, and it's going to be airing on, well, it's actually already airing on Bloomberg TV. And this is kind of the beginning of the brand name recognition for DubLi. It's going to take a long time for this to happen. It's not going to happen overnight. And then Terry Bradshaw, who's one of the, you know, he won the Super Bowl 4 times with Pittsburgh Steelers. He's in the Hall of Fame. He did an expose on DubLi. And it's actually pretty good. Well, together, these two are going to get 90 exposures between now and January of 2015. And this will just be the beginning. But what's happening is it's getting out to these big nonprofits. You saw some of the names. You saw the Red Cross. You saw United Way. You saw American Cancer Society. They're all doing this. Now, I've done 108 presentations to nonprofits from all sizes, from the Red Cross all the way down to the local little high school with Coach Hammonds. And out of the 108 nonprofit presentations I've done, not one of them has said no to DubLi. As a matter of fact, the most common response I've gotten is, "Well, Alan, this is a no-brainer." And it is. Now, the reason I'm telling you that I think the nonprofits are where you're going to make most of your money is pretty simple if you think about it. With one phone call, here's what could happen to you. You could pick up the phone, make a phone call, and with that one phone call, you could expose yourself immediately to maybe 10,000 customers, maybe 100,000, maybe millions of customers overnight. Now, it's not going to happen overnight, but you know, you're going to have to go through the sales cycle, depending on how big they are. But think about a high school. All of a sudden, you've got maybe 3, 4, 5, maybe 1,000 families, depending on how big the high school is, who are passionate about supporting their kids, who would love to get cash back on everything they're going to do anyway, and they're going to see this and they're going to jump all over it. That's how fast this thing is going to happen, and that's what's happening today. So it's all about being in the right place at the right time. Just depends on what you want to do. You know, I can lead you to water, but I can't make you drink. And it's up to you to decide what you want to do with this. Now, here's what happens. If you see this, if you understand it, here's what you need to do. You need to get back to the person that invited you on the call or this webcast. And if this is a recording of the webcast, get back to the person that sent you this recording. Get them to send you a link. Get all your questions answered first, okay? Get them to send you a link. Now, this is DubLi Network. The customers never see this, and they're going to send you a link that's going to say dublinetwork.com/ whatever their BA number is, and then you're going to get there. You're going to click on Join Now, and you're going to go inside, and you're going to do one of two things. You're either going to buy a team member package. That's a $495 package. But if you really understand this, now don't put yourself in any kind of economic bind. That's just silly. But if you really understand it, you want to maximize your income, you need to get a TLA package. Because here's what's going to include it in. It's got your $99 business license. That's a one-time fee. You never have to pay it again. But it also includes the partner program certification. That's $1,000 that we have to pay to take the test before we can start sponsoring nonprofits. And you must be at least a TLA before you can do it. It gives you that TLA status. So in other words, you're going to make 10% right out of the gate rather than 5%. It's also going to give you 5 VIP membership packages. And here they are. 3 of them are going to have 5 each, so you're going to get a total of 15 of the 1-year VIP vouchers that you can sell to help you start your customer base. You know, it's not a product you got to inventory. You're just going to start selling. Now, I know that some people are going to give these away, and I really don't recommend that. But it's your business. You can do that if you want to. I would recommend that you sell them, because if you give it to somebody for free, what's their mindset going to be? Their mindset is going to be, well, you know, he told me that it's worth $100, but he's not going to give me $100 for nothing. And so they're going to think, well, it can't be worth that much, and they're not going to pay attention to it. If they've got some skin in the game, and you sat down with them and explained it to them, then they're going to take advantage of it. And then you're going to get 2 more membership packages, and these 2 membership packages have 50 each of the 30-day free VIP membership. Now, you give these away for free. They're meant to be given away for free. But you've got to sit down and explain this to people that you give them to. And I believe if you do that, 50% of them will, at the end of that 30 days, I believe 50%, if you explain to them the value of this, they'll go ahead and upgrade and get a full 1-year VIP membership. So that's going to help you start your customer base right there. The more customers you get in place before the name recognition gets here, or the brand name recognition gets here, the more viral growth you're going to have in your organization with customers.